The Boston Bruins finished November with a winning record, capturing wins in 7 of their last 10 games, hanging on to first place in the Atlantic Division. But their toughest opponents, Montreal and Pittsburgh, are just ahead. Plus, we'll tell you a little bit about Tuukka Rask's record against the Canadiens. From Studio 73 at Suffolk University, I'm Erika Lee, joined by Tim Rosenthal, as always. Welcome to Bruins Daily TV. Tim, welcome back from Thanksgiving.
Same to you, Erika. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving at home as well.
Absolutely. And of course, Thanksgiving is in our past now, and we have so much to discuss today, so we should probably get right into it with just a little bit of time. The Bruins are 8-3-3-2 in November. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, as we mentioned, and they lead the Atlantic Division right now, 18-7-2 with 38 points.
Yeah, they've been looking very good, especially in that homestand earlier in November, where they were coming off a bit of a slump after losses to the Islanders and a couple losses at the end of October there. But they've been looking really strong. And November historically has been, at least in recent memory, has been one of their stronger months, and that's always good to see.
And the Bruins have 2 matchups in particular that we're looking ahead to. Thursday night, they're going to head up north of the border to take on the Habs, and then of course they've got Pittsburgh at home on Saturday as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the matchup Thursday in particular. One guy I'm looking forward to seeing is Tuukka Rask, how he handles the pressure up in Montreal. He has not had good numbers against the Canadiens in his history. I believe he's 2-8-2 around there, 2.83 goals against average, and save percentage just over 900. But the Bell Center, he's actually not that bad. He's had both his wins up there. He's had the goals against average a little over 2 and save percentage over 920. So oddly enough, in one of the toughest buildings to play in, he's done quite well historically.
Absolutely. And of course, the Bruins have a couple other important matchups coming up as well. They're going to head back north of the border after they take on Pittsburgh for a tour of Canada, if you will. They'll take on the Leafs, as well as the Flames, the Oilers, and the Canucks before coming home again.
Yeah, Toronto, obviously a division rivalry. That's going to be an important 2 points at stake, just like the Canadiens game Thursday up in Montreal. But you go out west, and they've only seen a few Western Conference teams this year, and this is their first extended road trip of the season. That includes a matchup with Calgary and Jarome Iginla's homecoming, so to speak. First time he'll be playing against his former team since he was traded last year. So I'm looking forward to that. Vancouver, obviously, they haven't played each other in a couple of years since the January 2012 game in the Stanley Cup rematch. I still think there's a little bit of bad blood between the two teams, even though Vancouver has a new coach in John Tortorella. That's going to be a very physical game, I think, when they head over there. And then you have Edmonton and I believe Winnipeg in that stretch to close it out.
Yes, that's true. So lots of important matchups, as you mentioned, Western Division, which we haven't seen much of yet. But when we come back, Tim and I will debate which player in the Spoked Bee had the best no-shave November mustache and so much more. That's next when we return on Bruins Daily TV. Welcome back to Bruins Daily TV. Erika Lee here alongside Tim Rosenthal, as always. It's time for Tim and I to drop the gloves.
I think we need some sort of prop this next week when we do this segment.
I agree.
I think we need to get Peter Mandarino involved on this.
Definitely. We need something for the desk here. I don't know what, but something.
Well, we have our Christmas show coming up, so we'll be decorating.
Maybe we can get a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Just a little one.
That's all we need.
Well, lots of fun topics again this week. It's finally December, but last month was No Shave November, or Movember, as they like to call it. And the Bruins, of course, did their part to raise money and awareness for men's prostate health. So which player on the team had the best stash?
You know, this surprises everyone, I think. Dougie Hamilton had quite the mustache going. I think he had it even down to his chin at one time, almost like a mini goatee, so I got to go with him.
I'm going to go with the classic Patrice Bergeron mustache. He always has one when he grows his playoff beard too, but I liked him with just the mustache.
I'm looking forward to seeing Dougie grow a playoff beard now that we saw him in
Now
a
that we
mustache.
know he can grow one.
I know. Not bad for a 19 or 20-year-old.
Not bad at all. And on a more serious note, the Bruins are doing really well, but they could find themselves out of first place with just a few bad games. So which Bruin do you believe needs to step it up in the month of November? December, rather.
December, yeah. I'm going to go with Brad Marchand. 4 goals, 8 assists on the season. He's been playing pretty well these last couple games. Had a nice goal against the Rangers on the Thanksgiving Showdown Friday. So maybe he can build off that. And he had a solid performance on Saturday against Winnipeg, even though he didn't get on the score sheet per se. But definitely in December, he's going to have to be a little more consistent. But thankfully, he has Patrice Bergeron and Louis Eriksson on that line stepping up.
That's true. And of course, I also have to go with Brad Marchand as well. You stole my stats from me, but in addition to the 4 goals and 8 assists, he has just 12 points, which is the lowest total out of anybody above the 4th line on the team right now. So he definitely has to step it up. He's had a little bit of a rough season. He was demoted, of course, from the 2nd line down to the 3rd line, and he's picked it up a little bit. So we can only hope for better things for Brad Marchand.
Yeah, for sure. And then you look at other guys like Jerome McGinley, who's back in a goal slump a little bit like he was earlier in the year. That first line's still been playing well, and he's still been contributing in other areas too, which unlike Nathan Horton, when he went into his slump, he seemed to phase out a little bit. Not so with Jerome McGinley. That's been such a noticeable upgrade on that first line this year.
Absolutely. And lastly, the Bruins and the Habs are one of the greatest rivalries, not only in hockey, but in sports. What is your favorite all-time Bruins-Habs moment?
In recent memory, I'm going to go with the February game of 2011 here at the TD Garden. That's also the game where Carey Price and Tim Thomas dropped the gloves. Who can forget that? You also had, in the penalty box, you had quite the scene with 4, 5, 6 guys in the penalty box trying to maneuver their way around the little box there. I think at one time, Sean Thornton and Brad Marchand might have shoved each other a little bit. So that was like seeing a circus act, like seeing how many clowns can fit in a little car, and they should have painted their faces, I think, for that.
Definitely something to consider next time that happens, if it ever happens again, but you never know with those 2 teams. For me, maybe not my favorite moment, but the most memorable was back in the 2007-2008 season when Marc Savard had a bone broken in his back up in Montreal, and he was out for quite some time with that injury. And of course, it was one of the last times we really got to see him play, because then he had the head injury that has had him seated on the bench ever since.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate thing to see a player so talented like Savard, and he was just getting into his prime too in that era. So it definitely would have been thrilling to see him for another few years or so.
Absolutely, but always a great matchup when the Bruins and the Habs play each other, and it's always great for us to debate each week, even if Tim thinks that he wins, because he gets to answer first.
I always win, you know that.
Well,
and you agreed with me on the second question again, so that
true.
automatically means I win.
That's true. Even though I would have picked Marchand, whether or not you picked him.
Okay.
But Tim, I know that a few of you guys are headed up to Montreal tomorrow, and I'm sure you've got some packing to do, so we had better get out of here. Just a reminder, don't pack your black and gold up there.
I'll try my best, but
Okay.
It's going to be tempting, especially given my history with Habs fans.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. For all of us here at Studio 73 at Suffolk University, Tim Rosenthal and Erika Lee here. We'll catch you next time on Bruins Daily TV.